Thank you again.
Call the meeting's order, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A motion for this evening's agenda,
So moved.
second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Public comment? No?
Well, Wickley, 7 Civil Lane. Didn't bring my glasses, so
You need a pair?
bear with me here. All good. You're all, I assume you're all familiar with the town code, which I believe is very strong. Section 260-68, permit required for signs. And it says, except as indicated under 260-71C, exemptions, all signs are required for permit. Here you repeat that. It says all signs are required. The CEO is responsible for the approval of permits for all signs which comply with this article. On approval, the CEO will issue a permit for signs that do not conform to this article. The applicant may pursue the appeal process. I'm not going to bore you with 270 versus 260-71C, which are the exceptions. What I do want to say is that re-emphasize that all signs require a permit. So if I were to put a sign up that said, I believe in the code of the town of Mendon, I would still need a permit. Or if I put a sign that said, Mo 1 in 2004, I would still need a permit. Regardless of content, I would need a permit according to what that says. Not talking content, talking about the necessity of having a permit for a sign in the town of Mendon. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to communications. Shell? Anything?
Oh, I do. I actually have quite a few things. County taxes were at about 96% collected. We've gotten almost 12.5 million in. Alyssa, she continues to do a fantastic job. She's taken on many new tasks, learned quickly. She really stepped up during when I was on vacation recently. She did a great job. She's going to attend Notary Public training with Brooke coming up here. They're doing an actual in-class person and Victor, which they haven't done that in a while. So it was good. They had a couple of meetings. We've seen a large increase in notary services. A lot of the local banks aren't offering it for some reason. They don't have anybody there, or they're not available all the time. So we have a lot of people. Judge Maxon and Judge Briggs have agreed for me to allow Alyssa to become deputy court clerk like Bonnie used to. So she'll be starting doing that and learning that job. It's a process, but she'll do a good job, I feel like. I've also been cross-training Craig Osterling from the other side, just as a backup. He won't be doing anything regular, just, if something comes up that we needed somebody, we're just gonna go with that. I received Brent Rosick's record of activity, it's posted on the town website. It'll remain there for 30 days as required. And then it'll be submitted to New York State Retirement. The rabies clinic, Dr. Gluckman has retired. We did get Meg Brooker from Canfield Vet. She has agreed to do that this year for us. Tom has requested that the highway department pick up their paychecks again on Friday mornings. So we'll hold them and he'll come in on Friday morning and pick those up. Several of the employees have opted for electronic stubs, automatically goes to that. So if anybody wants to get paper, they just let me know. It's just a click of the button. It's really easy. Marriage certificates have gone through the roof for the demand on those for the enhanced driver's licenses. So we've really seen an uptick on those. Also FOIL requests, we've had a significant increase in those. That's taking a lot of my time. I try to stay really hard to work within the deadlines. It's very important that if I ask for anything that comes as fast as you can, because it takes me a long time to collect everything from anywhere. The fire district has dropped off their service award report from 2024. I guess the comptroller's office required them to drop it off. No, I don't think I've ever gotten it before, but they told me. So Carnival and the fireworks have been approved. I'm waiting for Monroe County Sheriff's to come back with the all clear they do every year. Other than that, I've gotten all the insurance for the fireworks and all that in. And we received a seeker notification from the village notifying us that they have submitted a seeker lead agency request related to an amendment to their local law addressing smoke in vape shops and marijuana and cannabis uses. And they're having a public hearing on that on May 19th at 7:30 at the village hall.
Tom?
Well, first of all, we should be completing brush this week. By the end of the week, brush back up, I hope. And we've received all of our salt, about 3,500 tons of salt burn. This year, that's our lot. We will be milling and paving Plains and Schofield. We're going to mill the last week in May and pave the first week in June. There's stone and oil amendment center in Parish Road, June 18th to 19th. We are milling and paving for the county, Elk Hill Road and Williams Road, the second and third week in July. And that material that we take off the shoulders, we're going to use over in the soccer field for fill, which will save the town a lot of money, about 4,000 tons. Pipe's been ordered for drainage issues at the splash park. And as soon as that comes in, the highway department will be installing it. And we will be working with the village July 21st through 25th, milling and paving paper mill in Creekside Street, Creekside Drive. And myself and the highway employees would like to thank Councilwoman Roberts for her excellent cookies.
Thank you.
Yep.
Brent?
The planning board recently approved 2 projects with conditions. One was a single-family site plan on Pittsford Mendon Center Road. The second was the RG&E gas station, which we've talked about at length about they're keeping the barn and they're actually adding landscaping for the request of the residents. On June 4th, there is a scheduled 2-lot subdivision on Chateau Place without a site plan. And there is also an amended special use permit for a horse lessons to include boarding of horses. That's on Cheese Factory Road. Attended multiple meetings with the Buildings and Grounds Highway Department. Talked about, as Tom mentioned, the fill on there. I think that's outstanding. Saves a lot of money. And I'm also, per the request, looking at the behind the highway department, very similar to what we did at Summel Road or Drysbach Field, is if we can get some a boundary that's more than 100 foot from the wetlands. There's been a request possibly we can start using some fill there to increase the area that the brush is stored. They're basically they're would like more storage area. Yeah. I'm scheduled to do accounting school, introduction to Government Accounting, May 21st and May 22nd. May 14th, scheduled to meet at Mendon Green Lane to get feet on the ground to discuss some stormwater and ice and removal items. I also have a meeting on May 14th at the Nexamp Solar Farm along Quaker Meeting House Road. They have requested release of the maintenance bond. Code enforcement officer has some concerns with the tree line buffer. I attended the MCBA meeting in April. A lot of their discussion was budgetary, and they're volunteering at the fire department at Carnival along with a lot of other people. They are scheduling a member mixer at Mendon Commons for the ice creams area in June. They have not set the date yet, but that should be coming up. I have also met with the MRB project update committee and pardon me, I'm part of that committee. And I recently spoke to Mendon Foundation. They have some volunteer gardeners. They've started their weekly work on the flower beds down at Mendon Station Park. They were talking about, I guess in the past, there has been some coordination between the town and the county and them for some items down there. They asked if that was possible. Well, we can discuss. That's the best way we can do it, is discuss, see if there's anything we can do. I think in the past we did something with the flagpole and the lights is what jumps in my most recent memory.
I think those were the in bloom, some of which were the in bloom flowers.
Yes,
that, shared with them.
yes. So I'll catch up with you later this week about that. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Kim.
I attended the zoning board of appeals meeting on April 24th. There was an application from 1100 Pittsford Mendon Center Road requesting a relief of section 260-8D to construct a driveway to a single family dwelling with a 61-foot lot width where code requires a minimum of 100-foot. They received feedback from the fire department who did not have any issues, so the application was approved with conditions that encompass the fire department's recommendations. I'm not sure if everyone read the claims audit reports that John shares with us, but I just want to make a reminder, these I find very beneficial. But from the town of Allen, it just as a reminder that it is our duty to conduct a thorough and deliberate audit, and we have to just make sure that everything is itemized, contains the proper departmental approvals with sufficient documentation. I think last month, Jim pointed out that sales tax was one of them. That was one of the things the auditors found out. And then there's one on payroll and leave. So we just want to make sure that I find these beneficial and that we follow policy. And then the last thing was last week, May 10th, 4th through 10th was Public Service Recognition Week in New York State. So I want to express my appreciation to all the employees of the town of Mendon and the volunteers on various boards and organizations who serve their community every day. Your efforts, often done behind the scenes, are what keep our community safe, supported, and thriving. I am grateful for your passion and commitment to making a difference in the lives of our residents. So thank you.
Cindy?
I attended the library trustees meeting on May 5th. And they submitted a grant application for the Harold Hacker Fund. They will be having staff training on May 15th. The library will open later that day at 1 p.m. Library staff will not be participating in the carnival parade due to lack of staffing. And the Friends will have a quiet tent at the carnival to distribute books and literature about summer programs. And because of the renovations to the gazebo at Harry Allen Park, many of the reading programs for this summer will take place in the grassy area at the front of the library. That's it.
Yeah. Did they mention that grant is for that they're applying?
No, and I was busy taking notes and never got back to asking them what it was for.
Jim?
Yeah, last week on Tuesday, I attended the Environmental Conservation Board meeting. They discussed the property on Boughton Hill Road. Actually, I believe the application was originally came in last year. That's proposing to construct a pole barn in front of an existing dwelling. There are 5 pods on the property. They did do a site visit, but this project doesn't encroach on any of the pods. They still will submit some comments to the appropriate board based on their environmental concerns. They discussed the Monroe County Climate Action Plan. They had a presentation from the county at their last meeting and discussed the town's potential role. There is some funding available that is somewhat time sensitive, so they will probably want to make a presentation to this board at our next meeting. They are requesting a special meeting, which we have later on the agenda, to work on that presentation. They discussed an upcoming land use training session, which is also later in the agenda. Margaret Bailey updated the board on the Monroe County Environmental Management Council, which talked about composting and the benefits of no-till farming. On Wednesday of last week, I attended the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. They discussed a window replacement project on West Bloomfield Road that is on a designated building. They did need to come, but they did kind of consult on that, and I think everybody was happy about that. They discussed a subdivision of property application that's within 500 feet of the Mendon Cemetery on Mendon Ionia Road. Since nothing is being done to the dwelling, they really will have no comments on that. They discussed a property on Taylor Road that is a designated property and looking to erect fencing around the perimeter, and they are working with the owner on that. Member Martha Bush is working on a document detailing the benefits of historic designation. And historian Diane Ham did report she's working on a project. She has over 60 letters from Zebulon Norton's grandsons written back to people in Honea Falls and Mendon, or Norton's Mills and Mendon, after they had moved away. There may be grant money available. And she's also working on finalizing her essay for the town board. On Thursday of last week, I attended the Legion meeting. We recognized resident Sergeant Caitlin Toomey of Monroe County Sheriff's Office Zone B. We had nominated her. There's a Monroe County American Legion Law and Order Award. They give out annually to a 911 operator, a firefighter, and a law officer. And she did win the county award. So she will go up to the next highest level is district, and then department, which is the entire state. We are going to be doing distributing poppies again, which we usually do a couple weeks before Memorial Day to honor the fallen. That will be Friday through Sunday, May 16th, May 17th, and May 18th. We'll have people both at Honea Falls Marketplace and at Mendon Meadows, approximately 9 to 3. So there will be someone there distributing poppies. Memorial Day, observed this year on Monday, May 26th. Normal schedule, but in 8:30 we do a parade and a ceremony in North Bloomfield. 9:30 we do in Mendon. 10:30 we do St. Paul of the Cross, and 11:30 we do in Honea Falls. They had been working on getting speakers for Mendon and Honea Falls, but that has fallen through so far, so we are still working on that.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. First of all, there's 2 local laws I'm providing board with tonight. One is regarding resident restrictions for deputy superintendent of highways. I'm not going to read that, but if anybody has, you can read that at your leisure. But if anybody has any comments about that, we certainly can consider those. The goal here would be the June meeting would be to set the public hearing for July, and in July have the public hearing with possible adoption by the board. The other one is sign regulations. And I'm just gonna go over this. This would amend the town code chapter 260, article 10 under sign regulations. Town board would be amending 260.71C, exemptions of article 10 of chapter 260, regulations applicable to temporary signs in the town of Mendon not already addressed in the existing code. these are the proposed exemptions. Other temporary signs constructed cloth, paper, canvas, plastic, or other like and permanent material intended for display for a limited period of time. Following regulations shall apply to all other temporary signs not already specifically addressed in this chapter. Temporary signs will only be allowed with permission of the property tax parcel owner. Temporary signs shall not be placed in public right of way. Placement of a temporary sign should be not less than 15 feet from the edge of a paved or unpaved roadway and or the property tax parcel line. Temporary signs shall not exceed 3 square feet, whether single or double sided. Temporary signs shall not be illuminated. Temporary signs shall not be displayed more than 60 days and shall not thereafter be replaced by any further temporary sign or signs until at least 180 days has elapsed. Upon initial placement of a temporary sign, no more than 4 temporary signs may be displayed per tax parcel during the next preceding 60-day period. Temporary signs shall not be affixed to fences, trees, utility poles, rocks, or other surfaces, nor shall the surface of any structure be utilized by signage by way of paint or other methods. Temporary signs shall not be placed in the manner that will obstruct or impair any manner or create any hazard, disturbance to health, safety, and welfare. So, the idea, my plan was to get this to you a week or two ago, but obviously that didn't happen. So, it's for your consideration tonight. But I know this is the first time you've seen this, so I would ask that you please look this over. If you have any concerns, certainly contact myself or Brian, and then I'll have it on the agenda for our July meeting, set the public hearing and proceed accordingly. Is there anything on here that you're concerned about? Should be 4 square feet instead of 3 square feet,
I'm
61 days
yeah.
instead of 60.
I'm thinking you might want to look closer to 4 or 6. 2 by 3, I think, is a pretty common size for these temporary signs. Not mistaken.
Okay.
But I don't think too many temporary signs are 3 foot. I think they're mostly larger, 3 foot.
So you're saying that
I think we should have at least 4 square foot.
4 square feet on there.
Yes.
Anybody else?
The only, again, like I said, it's the first time I'm seeing this. Does paint on a structure? Is that a temporary sign?
Oh, right, I'm interested in that.
So that, sure, that, what's currently drafted in this, it would be considered a temporary sign, meaning if you painted essentially a sign, say on the side of a house or other structure, under this, you can't do that essentially.
Is an image considered a sign? Here's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Right past Saxby's on Hogan's, I don't even know if Hogan's live there anymore.
Oh,
Hogan's
yeah,
had a smiley
The
face
smiley
painted
face.
on the side of a barn. For
for years.
pretty much my whole life,
Yeah.
I think. Would that be considered a temporary sign?
I would think as drafted it would be, so if that's something that the board is interested in, then we may want to think about.
Okay.
Into that. Again, keeping in mind the need to be content neutral, so if it is something that wants to be allowed, it would likely be allowed across the board.
Sure. I just wanted clarification.
And along those same lines, I've seen some things, not in the town of Mendon necessarily, painted on buildings.
Oh, a mural, like
Murals
would a
and-
mural,
Well, and I've also seen some things that are, in my opinion, are a little over the edge as far as that kind of thing. So
Content or
again, I'm speaking of, I know that
can't talk about it.
but we are talking about a smiley face too, so I'm saying we are somewhat talking about content here. And there, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is not all things that are painted on the side of a building might be a smiley face, is all I'm saying. I agree. So I know it's got a whole folder on laws from other towns, the information from the Association of Towns, and I know Brian's done quite a bit of research on this, so we're trying to find that sweet spot, so to speak.
And it's, yeah, it's a difficult one to regulate, but as the advice I think that was given by the Association of Towns, which I think makes sense, is we use this as the example when you're talking about, you know, painting any type of message or signage or image on a structure. Either you want to allow it, or permit it, or don't, regardless of content. That's the easiest way to look at it, again, to be ensured that it's gonna survive.
Anything else? You know, I know, as I said, I know it's your first read through. So if you have anything, continue to look through it, get back to Brian and myself. Proceed accordingly. Let's see, parades, as Jim mentioned, there's the Memorial Day parades, any of the current individuals holding elected positions are interested in Memorial Day parades or the Mendon Fire Department parade, please contact me, let me know that you're marching, just so I can get the names to several of the introductions, and we can proceed from there. Let's see, had a chance to meet with the highway department on April 23rd. Very productive meeting. We had a off hours team building event on May 1st. I also met with Brown and Brown regarding health insurance for retirees. There's a consortium that is available to us, even though we have a very small group, that may be a savings to a smaller term. So continue to look into that. We've got a meeting on site, as someone mentioned, from Mendon Green this week. The charging station, we're proceeding with that. We have a new vendor lined up to complete the transfer. And we have advertised for a full-time mechanic and a part-time buildings and grounds person. Or I'm not really sure what we've heard so far, but I have had one phone call, but hopefully get some responses on those two. That concludes my communication. Tom, is there anything you want to go over now, or?
No, not right now.
Okay. Move on to supervisor's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for April 2025.
Second that.
Did we get those?
I don't-
Oh, they weren't ready?
I can see it here.
Sent out an email. Yeah, they weren't ready yet. I checked all
Can't
weekend.
say I.
I thought they might be ready
Maybe I
this
missed
morning, but they weren't.
Good.
Oh, building.
I moved that we table that.
Michelle had indicated they weren't ready yet. So
Is
I
there-
tried.
Is there motion to table that?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, all in favor, table.
Aye.
Aye.
Town clerk's monthly
Wait,
report.
who first and second?
Aye first.
Town clerk's monthly report. I know we have that.
I'll make a motion to approve the town clerk's monthly report, acknowledge receipt of town clerk's monthly report for April 2025, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $8,994.90.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 14th and the special meetings held on April 21st and April 28th as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Not about those, but I did have a question. I thought we had a couple of the March meeting minutes? They're still being updated.
I just put unapproved, they're unapproved. It was just the formatting, right?
I think there was some other things in there.
If I get time, otherwise for now, they're just down there.
Okay.
I'll try.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the following budget adjustments as listed in the agenda. You want me to list those out? They're right here.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Equipment purchase transfer.
I'll make a motion to approve the following transfer, the purchase of equipment. This resolution is subject to permissive referendum from Equipment Reserves, New York -01-1255-0010 of $168,000, $353.82 to DB 5110.2 equipment.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have some questions about this that I think is gonna come up when we get to our next. Or when we get to item 18. Specifically, there's a letter in here that talks about two pieces of equipment. And each one is $168,000 and change. And I noticed that, but then on the quote, there's only one, and I see that we're only moving enough money for one. So my question is should we be moving enough money for two?
The quote.
It does say only one.
The quote says one. The backup documentation for number 18 says two.
Oh, it's on the last page. Yeah, it's 168, 676, 91 each.
Right.
The quote has one.
Mhm.
The quote has one. The
But it says,
intent to purchase has
is
two, and we have two chassis
Yes,
that we're retrofitting.
yes.
are we moving enough money?
In the transfer should be for two. Which when we did the agenda, I had the letter dated March 4th, which says two. At 168, so the transfer should be twice that.
Okay.
But the quote says one.
So I'm just gonna use my
Correct.
phone to calculator.
$336,707.64.
See where the quote is.
That is indeed
Okay.
what we are getting, correct? We have two chassis and we need to equip both of them for ice and snow removal.
Tom shaking his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 336,707.64. Okay. 336,707.64. So I will revise my motion to reflect that amount.
I will revise my second to agree with it.
That's all the discussion I have on that.
So there's a little bit of confusion about this purchase, a little bit to say the least. because it dates back a significant amount of time. It one document says March of 2024, and the other documents that I received today, Highway says
12/18/2023.
December of 23. But I did check with the mechanic at the highway department, and he did confirm that this Sourcewell contract is still in effect. Pricing is still.
Just procedure, and I know this is before my time, is since we're approving the purchase now, can we agree to a purchase that hasn't been approved?
I've got a lot to talk about during item 18.
Yeah, when we get to 18,
Okay.
I have things to bring up too.
Sorry, did not mean to jump in.
No, I think, yeah, but I mean, for the transfer, I'm good.
Okay.
And we have the $336,000 to be able to transfer the money. Okay.
We budgeted for that, yes.
Okay.
Right, John?
Yes. We did.
Any other questions, comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Vouchers.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 25-192 to 25-204 on general abstract 25-05A in the amount of $106,033.65.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 25-205 to 25-242 on general abstract 25-05B in the amount of $82,837.06.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 25-181 to 25-199 on highway abstract. I should say highway. 25-05 in the amount of $54,642.10.
Second.
Somebody second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I would like to show that library vouchers number 25-065 to 25-070 on library abstract 25-05A in the amount of $591, easy for me to say, and 50 cents were presented to the town board for payment. And library vouchers number 25-071 to 25-079 on library abstract 25-05B in the amount of $3,784.30 were also presented to the town board for payment.
Thank you. Next is zoning board of appeals. This is for appointment.
I'll make a motion to appoint Elizabeth Horton to the Zoning Board of Appeals for an unexpired term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second that.
Any discussion?
I'm just happy that we have somebody for the ZBA because at the last meeting, the board was asking when they were gonna get an additional member. So I'm glad somebody is gonna be replacing.
So she is currently serving on the Historic Preservation Commission. And upon appointment, she will be resigning from that. She was one of the two boards and commissions. And I think she'll be a good addition. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the area variance refund for approval.
Make a motion to authorize refund of a $350 area variance fee paid by Michael Turner on January 20th, 2025. This is for 3862 Rushmond Road. After further discussion with the town CEO, Mr. Turner agreed to adjust this project in order to confirm to the current zoning requirements is cited in 260-71C3. As a result, the area variance is not needed.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Notary training?
I'll make a motion to approve the attendance of Brooke Buckland and Alyssa Stevenson at a notary public exam training session on May 21st at 85 West Main Street in Victor at a cost of $120 each and to be paid from B 8020.4 and A 1410.4.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Land use training.
Make a motion to approve the attendance of ECB member Margaret Bailey at the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development Land Use Decision Making Training Program Spring of 2025. As outlined in here, cost is $50 to be paid from account B8090.1.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Environmental Conservation Board for a special meeting.
Make a motion to schedule a special meeting of the Environmental Conservation Board at 7 PM Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at the Mendon Town Hall, 16 Main Street, West Main Street, Hunter Falls. This meeting will address the Climate Action Plan recommendations to the town board.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Records retention schedule for adoption.
I'll make a motion to adopt the following resolution. Resolved by the town board of the town of Mendon that retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records, LGS 1, issued pursuant to Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law and containing legal minimum retention periods for local government records is hereby adopted for use by all officers in legally disposing of valueless records listed therein. Further resolved that in accordance with Article 57A, only those records will be disposed of that are described in records and disposition schedule for New York local government records after they have met the minimum retention periods described therein. And B, only those records will be disposed of that do not have sufficient administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods.
Second.
Any discussion? Tom, I think you got this from your office. It's a follow-up to our grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 18, purchase plow and salters.
Make a motion pending the results of the potential reserve fund transfer permissive referendum. Authorize the purchase of 2 plow and salter equipment as per quote ID MG 000-00393 through Sourcewell contract number 062222-BCM at a price of $168,676.91 each, be paid for from account DB 5110.2.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
So I have a question. I went back to last year's agendas based on the letter that's included in our packet from Andy. I don't see that we approved purchasing, and according to our procurement policy, anything above $8,000, you have to have written request for proposal approved by the town board before purchasing. So I didn't see that we approved these purchases.
You are correct. I think this is, again, these 2 vehicles that were purchased past have been drop shipped to the vendor. This vendor happens to be Harrisville. And not sure of all the details. They were delivered to the Mendon Highway Department. and we approved the purchase of those two vehicles
I do remember that.
last summer, maybe towards the end of summer. And then they were sent to Harrisville for the equipment to be put on, which according to Mechanics and Highway Department today, said they're in the queue. And he said what they do is they wait until they get so many vehicles that take the same Salter plow, then they do, X amount of them at the same time. So redundancy. He thinks that pending all approvals, that they will be ready somewhere in September, October, I think he said. But the whole purchase, the fact that they were shipped here to Mendon, then they ended up there. The whole thing was, in my opinion, that's correct.
So this quote that was given, the quote date is from December of 2023. The quote was valid till January 17th, 2024. The stuff has been ordered, even though it says quantity 1, we do have 2, because we have 2 trucks that
Yes.
need this, right?
Yes,
So we did order 2, even though it says 1.
that's what was told to me verbally today.
And if we aren't following our policy and we approve of this purchase after the fact, if we were audited, we could have our hands slapped.
That's what.
This is where I'm at with this is. It's blatantly obvious from sitting here looking at this, our procurement policy was not followed. We approved the purchase of the chassis. The chassis are coming, the chassis were drop shipped, now the chassis are at our purveyor, ready for this equipment to go on. Per the letter of what we're doing, we should cancel this and then redo the process. If we cancel this and redo the process, A, we might not get them for this price, we might pay more. B, they're not gonna be ready for this year. These are in line to be ready for snow and ice removal this coming season, which is coming fast. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's coming fast. And as much as it pains me that I might get my hand smacked for something I did not do, I think I'm ready to do it because it's for the betterment of the town. The town needs it for the snow and ice removal. We are here to serve the residents. And I think we need to not strengthen our procurement
Follow it.
policy. We need
Follow
to
it.
follow it and we need to make sure that it's being followed. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, I agree with you, but I do think how you think that in this case, the public safety issue,
Right.
which is having plows and salters ready for winter, I don't want to say takes precedence over the policy,
Right.
but it takes precedence over I think public safety right now is more important.
So as much as I don't want to vote yes for this, I totally will and beg for forgiveness if we were
Yes.
audited.
Begrudgingly vote yes.
I feel the same.
I agree.
In the past, normally when the purchase is made of the vehicle, we've received the purchase price of the vehicle, the purchase price of the accessories that have to be put on the vehicle. Town board approves it, and they're ordered, et cetera. But this particular one, and I can't tell you why, followed a different procedure.
Well, in the letter even that's in our agenda, like, this is dated March 4th, 2024. We never got this. I went back and looked at our old agendas
I received that last Thursday.
and I looked at my old emails. We never received this.
Well, I agree with you. I think we used to, seemed to me, I remember we did it more as a package.
Yes.
Like, it was gonna cost $268,000 for a plow truck. Right. We kind of did it, so approved everything.
No, hopefully, when we get into the budget for next year, we can see how we can improve on this process for 2026, so we don't make the same mistake again.
I'm confident that we'll
Okay.
have the ability to do that. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is declaration of surplus.
I'll make a motion to declare the scrap metal stored at the highway department as scrap and authorize its disposal. This scrap metal is an accumulation of old drainage pipe, metal picked up along the road, and scraps from the shop. The highway department will dispose of the metal at Upco, a metal salvage dealer.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Back to public comment. Mo?
Oh, big week again, 7/7/09. I noticed in the supporting documentation, I don't have it in front of me, I can't recall where it was. There was a payment to Mr. Cruschetti for 75 or 76 plus $1,000. I don't see any resolutions made by the town board for the expenditure of those funds. We owe it to the taxpayers to inform them where their money is going.
Anything else? Okay, motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.